Bandidos, what up? Today we're diving into something critical. The upcoming Division 2 DLC set to launch in, well, let's just say early March 2025. But here's the kicker. Ubisoft just announced another delay for Assassin's Creed Shadows, pushing it to March 20. And if you're wondering why this matters to us Division 2 fans, well, buckle up because we're connecting the dots and it's going to get real. Let's do this.
Wait, did we just become best friends? So nice to meet you. I think you're cool.
Piece of shit wristwatch.
So why did Ubisoft delay Assassin's Creed? Well, officially, they said it's to polish the game. And sure, we'll take that. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Feb 2025 is stacked. Titles like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Civilization 7, Avowed, and this one's big, Monster Hunter Wilds, are all dropping within weeks of each other. Ubisoft's move to March 20 is strategic. They're dodging a crowded month to give Shadows breathing room. Now, look at the Division 2's DLC launch. It's penciled in for early March, right in the wake of that February gaming avalanche. So if Ubisoft's biggest franchise is sidestepping the competition, why should the Division 2 stay put? Well, let's break this down. If the DLC sticks to early March, there's a lot at stake. Gamers will still be fully immersed in February's big releases, making it hard for even die-hard Division 2 fans to give the new content the attention it deserves. On top of that, the sheer volume of high-profile titles like Monster Hunter Wilds or Avowed creates a marketing nightmare, with the DLC risking complete obscurity in all the noise. And then there's the issue of first impressions. Low engagement right out of the gate can send a bad message to both the community and Ubisoft's higher ups. And let's face it, in year 6, every decision carries weight. So looking at Ubisoft's past marketing timeline for the Division 2's Warlords of New York expansion, which was released on March 3rd, 2020, promotional efforts began approximately 1 month prior in early February 2020. Given this precedent for the upcoming DLC scheduled for early March 2025, it's reasonable to anticipate that Ubisoft will initiate marketing activities around early to mid February 2025. This would likely include trailers, developer streams, and other promotional content to generate interest and inform players about the new expansion. However, considering the crowded release schedule in February with other major titles launching, Ubisoft might adjust their marketing strategy to ensure the DLC receives adequate attention. This could involve starting promotions earlier or employing more aggressive marketing tactics to stand out amidst the competition. So the first little nugget I want you to hold on to is early to mid-February. So if February 14th swings by and we still haven't seen any promotional material related to the DLC, then it's likely been pushed beyond early March. The alternative being they're not doing any promotional marketing, which would be a big mistake. So what if they stick to early March? If they don't delay, here's what needs to happen. They need to do a marketing blitz. Ubisoft needs to go all in to remind everyone why the Division 2 is still worth playing. We're talking trailers, gameplay showcases, dev streams, whatever it takes. And then it needs to have a launch day perfection. This DLC has to hit the ground running. No game-breaking bugs, no half-baked content. It needs to deliver right out of the gate. And that right there is a tall order for massive entertainment. If you've been around the Division 2 even for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And engage the community. They need rewards, events, and incentives to get the players logging in, making it impossible for fans to ignore. But let's discuss why a delay could save the DLC. So moving the release closer to late March or even April could make a huge difference. For one, it would give the DLC a clearer runway, avoiding the chaos of early March and giving it better visibility and a stronger chance to stand out. More importantly, the Division 2 isn't exactly Ubisoft's top priority right now, so giving the developers extra time to refine the content could lead to better quality and a smoother launch. And like I said, it needs to launch hard. A delay could also generate more community momentum. If Ubisoft communicates the reason well, they're not very good at that, but if they can, it might build hype and anticipation rather than causing disappointment. Here's where things get tricky. Follow me. Let's dive deeper into the context surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows and the potential impact of its rescheduled release. So originally slated for November 12th, 2024, the game was delayed twice, first to February 14th, 2025, and then again to March 20th. Industry specialists speculate it's probably because of the other titles releasing in February. So this move is really a necessary step to give the franchise the best possible chance at success. You get me? You're with me? Okay, let's continue because here's where it gets interesting. So March 20 is not just another day on the calendar. It's the 30th anniversary of the Tokyo subway sarin attack, a tragic event that left dozens dead and hundreds more injured. This bombing, orchestrated by a doomsday cult, occurred on the morning of March 20, 1995, and it marked a somber chapter in Japan's modern history. So given the nature of the attack and the impact it had on Japan and the world, Ubisoft may be walking a fine line in terms of cultural sensitivity by choosing this date for Assassin's Creed Shadows release. While Ubisoft hasn't confirmed any changes yet, the timing of the release could lead to a backlash, especially from players and critics who feel that launching such a major game on the same day could intentionally diminish the significance of the event. Additionally, there may be concerns about appearing tone deaf or lacking awareness of the historical implications of that day. Given that Ubisoft is no stranger to the potential risks of culturally insensitive decisions, it's highly likely they might reconsider this date to avoid stirring up controversy or appearing disrespectful. So what I'm saying is that if they moved their date from February 14th to March 20 to give the game every chance of success, then they're going to want to move it again because March 20 could be a PR nightmare for them. We could see boycotts from an entire region or race. So let's circle back because this delay doesn't go without bringing The Division 2 into the conversation. So Ubisoft is in a bit of a tricky spot here. So the upcoming DLC for The Division 2, which is expected to launch in early March 2025, could potentially clash with the marketing cycle for Assassin's Creed Shadows. So if Ubisoft is looking to avoid competing with itself, obviously many Division 2 players also play Assassin's Creed. So with that in mind, the release window for The Division 2's DLC could be affected. Not to mention the busy February lineup already makes early March a crowded window for The Division 2 to even have a chance of standing out. So if Ubisoft decides to move Assassin's Creed Shadows to another day, whether to avoid the March 20 date out of respect or simply because of a strategic shift, it could also help clear some space for The Division 2's DLC. So I'm thinking if Assassin's Creed Shadows is moved to April, The Division 2's DLC could benefit from avoiding any overlap in marketing and release windows. So what would be the perfect time for The Division 2's DLC to launch? Well, late March between the 26th and 28th stands out as the optimal release window for The Division 2's DLC. It provides ample time for Ubisoft to push a marketing blitz while avoiding the dense February release window. The timing would also allow The Division 2 to capture attention before Assassin's Creed Shadows starts dominating the conversation later in April. But yes, that would mean a 3-week delay to the DLC. So you know we have to talk about it, right? We can't just ignore it. We have to face it. The situation is real. This isn't gossip. These aren't rumors. These are the headlines. Ubisoft is struggling financially. If you haven't heard the latest, their market value has tanked 85% from $12 billion in 2021 to just $1.78 billion in 2025. Those are numbers you don't just ignore. Assassin's Creed is basically the last lifeline for Ubisoft. And if it flops, it could mean bankruptcy for Ubisoft. And if that happens, it's bad news for The Division 2 and its players also. So let's break that down. Massive Entertainment, the studio behind The Division 2, has been fully owned by Ubisoft since 2008. That means its future is directly tied to Ubisoft's success. If Ubisoft keeps slipping financially, Massive could face serious setbacks like downsizing or even closure. And that's a scary thought for anyone who loves the game we've all been playing for years. And just so you know, it's not Massive Entertainment who develops Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's Ubisoft Quebec. So I updated the roadmap to capture the immediate situation. At the top here is my sit rep. So the Division 2 devs remain AFK with the community as of today. So we're at the back half of Season 2. This released in October 29th, which is Shades of Red. So I have flagged here that around February 5th, ideally we'd like to see the DLC marketing. Then that means The release is imminent, hopefully around March 5th. The next item coming as part of Season 2 in Year 6 is the Climax mission. So that's a few weeks out, but really close to the end of Season 2. And then I have slated for now March 5th as a Year 6 Season 3 Brooklyn DLC release. However, they haven't officially announced any hard date for it yet. The last comment they made was on October 3rd, 2024 during a dev live stream in which they commented sort of unofficially that the DLC is still expected for delivery, but nothing really official has been put out there. On the Division roadmap, I went ahead and dropped some markers for Assassin's Creed, so you have a good idea of what the timeline really looks like. As of now, January 12th, Assassin's Creed Shadows is slated for March 20th. Now we're hoping that gets pushed to maybe early April so we don't get into that PR snaggle. And if you're a Division 2 player, you're voting for Assassin's Creed Shadows success. And if you're a hardcore Division 2 player, you might even go as far as buying the game, because by April 20th, or what ends up being 30 days from the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we need to see at least 1.6 million in sales to be even considered remotely successful. That would put it on par for Assassin's Creed Mirage, which was one of their latest releases, and put it on track for 5 million plus copies sold over 3 months. And do you see that big red and white striped box beyond that date? Yeah, so we are in the dark as far as it goes for Year 6 Season 3 and all of Year 7. So we have no updated roadmap from the developers at this stage. I would expect to see a new one with the release of the DLC. On the very right, we have the Division 3 earmarked, as well as the Division Resurgence, which was the free-to-play mobile game that has been delayed. So Division 3 is, quote, under development, supposedly. How far and how much is up to speculation, but I wouldn't expect to see that game in less than 2 years. As for recent news, Ubisoft is in turmoil financially, and analysts estimate Ubisoft's credit rating has plummeted to CCC, a level that indicates imminent bankruptcy. On January 10th, the recent headlines in Ubisoft announced that they appointed advisors for potential buyout deals. So the talks are real. Look, we're all here because we love The Division 2, right? It's not about bashing Ubisoft or saying the end is near. If anyone is calling this doomsday talk, they're missing the point. We're not just talking about one game here. We're talking about a company that was once a symbol of the gaming industry, now on the verge of collapse. And this isn't gossip. This is headlines, because if that happens, it doesn't just impact the tiny world of The Division 2, it will send shockwaves across the entire gaming world. That's why we're talking about this. And without a successful release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, they likely will not survive 2025. Here's the kicker. Tencent, a huge player in the gaming world, has been eyeing a potential acquisition of Ubisoft, but negotiations are tricky, especially because the founder, Guillemot family, wants to keep control of the company, and that's been the sticking point. If those talks fall apart, Tencent might look at a different approach, like buying up some of Ubisoft's most valuable game franchise in a bankruptcy sale. So instead of taking on the whole company, they could pick up big IPs like Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry, which could give them a solid foothold in the gaming market without all of the baggage from Ubisoft. So what does this all mean for the Division 2? Well, if Ubisoft goes under, it's not just about the Division 2 potentially shutting down, it's about what happens to all the studios and games under their umbrella, and that would include the Division 3. So if Assassin's Creed Shadows can't pull through and Ubisoft ends up liquidating its assets, Tencent could swoop in and grab those franchises, leaving the Division 2 hanging in the balance. Or hopefully somebody comes through and picks them up. At the end of the day, the success of Assassin's Creed isn't just important for Ubisoft's future, it's also critical for the Division 2. They're directly linked. Ubisoft needs this release to succeed, so we need Assassin's Creed to succeed. Or we might see some major changes and not for the better. I know this will probably come up, so why don't we go ahead and address it? You might say, well, so-and-so over at Ubisoft said on X or Twitter that there's nothing to worry about and we should stay calm, Division on. Okay, so if you ask a Ubisoft employee on social media whether you should be concerned about the Division 2 facing challenges, it's important to understand that their responses will align with Ubisoft's public communication policies. Employees are expected to maintain a positive outlook and adhere to the company's official messaging. This approach is consistent with Ubisoft's code of conduct, which emphasizes the separation between private and professional accounts and the responsibility to represent the company appropriately. They need permission to give official statements. So a relevant example is the situation with XDefiant. So prior to the game's official sunsetting announcement, executive producer Mark Rubin addressed shutdown rumors by stating there were no plans to shut down after season 4 and outlined future plans for the title. So despite these assurances, XDefiant was later officially announced to be shutting down, even though the executive producer Mark Rubin said specifically that they had no plans to shut down. This illustrates that when inquiring about the status of The Division 2 or any other Ubisoft title, it's important to recognize that official responses will reflect the company's commitment to positive public communication, regardless if they know we know what's really going on. Does this sound familiar? That's right. We're not hearing anything from the developers to directly address the specific concerns about The Division, and some are going as far as pushing the Division 3 agenda, which is in the future plans for the Division franchise, but greatly overshadowed by the current situation of Ubisoft. So you can't talk about the Division 3 without mentioning the financial turmoil Ubisoft is in right now. And I wouldn't feel comfortable further propagating that without feeling like I'm pushing propaganda. So the moral of the story for Year 6, Season 3 is go Assassin's Creed Shadows. What do you think? Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Tuxedo Bandido, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on the good stuff I have coming for you. And if you like content like this, be sure to check out the video I have recommended for you right here. If you have anything you would like me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make things possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be the same without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Wait, did we just become best friends?